Okay friends, it is time for something that I'm now going to call chaos crafting. And I've done this once before on my channel and nobody showed up at my door with torches and pitchforks, so let's do it again. But basically what this is we're going to do a craft that I've never done before. Never. I've never actually used any of these materials. It's going to be my first time. But we are going to see in real time how easy it is and how doable it is. So if you're a beginner, this one is for you because I've never done this before. We're going to see if it's easy and fun and if it works. And mostly I'm excited because today we are using my Cricut Joy Xtra, which I am already convinced is going to become my favorite Cricut machine. Like, I love this little guy. He's small. For reference, here are my hands. Now I do have big hands, but I mean, great tabletop size and still tons of functionality out of this Cricut machine. So I'm pretty excited about it. So we're gonna be using it today. What we're gonna be making are watercolor Easter cards. So you can actually use these cards for any occasion, but Easter's coming up. So I'm using these for Easter. We're gonna create cutie little watercolor bouquet cards that say Happy Easter. I'm really excited about this. I'm a little bit nervous. I think my, what I'm gonna guess is gonna happen is I'm gonna mess them up with the watercolor pen, because basically how this works is the Cricut is gonna draw with the watercolor pens on the card, and then we're gonna take the watercolor, like the water brush, and actually like add the watercolor effect. So I'm a bit nervous, but it can't be that bad. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what you need to do this project. You need a Cricut, Cricut Joy Xtra, Cricut Maker, Cricut Explorer. Use whatever you want on this project. You're gonna need the watercolor marker and brush set from Cricut. It looks like this. Comes with all of your colors, and then also comes with this handy dandy little like water brush. So we're gonna be using that. We're going to be using watercolor cards, again, from Cricut. You need watercolor paper at the bare minimum to do this project, but I would recommend trying out the cards. You do need some Cricut Joy, or if you're not using the Joy, you don't need this specific one, but you do need regular black pens to be used with your Cricut, and then you need the Cricut card mat. And it's proof that I've never done this kind of project before because I've not even opened these things. We're going to be opening them together. So without further ado, let's dive right in. I'm gonna pull my computer over and switch over to my computer screen because we are going to start by making the file in Cricut Design Space. Okay, we are here in Cricut Design Space just with a blank canvas. Let's go ahead and go to Images. And we're gonna try to find some flowers that will work for this project. I just searched flowers, and then one thing that I did do is I came over here to operation type and I said I wanted it to only be a draw function because I don't want to cut anything. And then I said I wanted it to be multi-layered. And really the only reason why I did that part is because I want to make these flowers like different colors. I want to play with a couple of the different colors we have in our watercolor brush pack. So I didn't want to be dealing with just a single colored flower. Let's just grab this one with the roses and the leaves. We're gonna add it to our canvas. Very cute. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the size down a bit. So our cards are 4.25 by 5. So if we want them to be landscape, I guess we want them to be portrait. So 4.25 in width, which means like 3.75 would leave a 1/4 of an inch on each side by 2.86. Is that too small? Nah, that's gonna be perfect. Okay, so we're gonna leave it at that. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna open our panel here and look at all the different layers. So we're gonna change the color of each layer. I can toggle the visibility with this little eyeball to see what that layer actually is. That is the leaves. So I'm gonna turn that into a green layer. So I'm gonna go to my colors right here. I'm gonna switch to the marker setting, and then I'm gonna scroll all the way down to find the watercolor markers. And I know I want it to be green. Wonderful. And then it looks like we just have each flower individually. So we're gonna switch this one in the same way as before, but to like a, let's see, I guess I gotta look at what colors I even have. Okay, we could do this one in red. I think I kind of like that. I think I like it. One thing I'm gonna do though is I do want it to be outlined, like just in pen, like in black pen, just in case we screw it up. So I'm gonna take this leaf layer and I'm going to duplicate the whole thing. But I'm gonna make this one all fine point black. Oh wait, no, this is a 0.3, it's ultra fine point black. All right, so now I'm gonna make that a little bigger than what we have. Oh, that don't look right. All right, so it needs to be the same size, I guess. Oh, what have I done? Okay, there we go, that's the same size. But I don't know, is that gonna work? Okay, I have no idea whether that's gonna work, doing it on top of each other like that. So we're gonna duplicate again, and we're gonna do one version where we don't outline it, and then one version where we do. So now I'm gonna take this whole section here, and I want to add some text, which I am gonna do in the fine point marker, or the fine point pen that we have. So I'm gonna make that a drawing layer. I'm gonna make it extra fine point, black. And I'm gonna go to my fonts and I'm gonna change it to like a writing font. Okay, we're gonna use Hello Darling. We're gonna make it a little bigger here. I think that looks wonderful. I'm just making sure everything is aligned now so that when I go and attach this in a second, everything is proportioned. I forgot I had that on top of itself. There we go. Everything is proportioned right and aligned correctly. So I'm gonna move Happy Easter. Okay, these both look right. So as a reminder, the difference between these two is that the one on the right over here has a black outline in pen, which I have no idea whether that's gonna mess up our watercolor pens or not. And then the one on the left doesn't have that outline, so we don't have to worry about that one being messed up. I could do like an offset. No. Let's not make it crazy. Okay, good. All right, so now I'm gonna take this whole card and I'm gonna attach it. I'm gonna take this whole card and I'm gonna attach it. So that just means that the Cricut is not gonna like draw everything in a way that makes the most spatial sense. Instead, it's gonna keep everything in this same relative space. Otherwise, it will align it in the way that's the most efficient. And because of that, your flowers are gonna be like everywhere, all over the page. So attaching just means I want it to look just like this on my card. I want this one to look just like this on my card. So now, but I don't want to attach these together because I don't necessarily want them side by side like that. I want them each on a different card. But now that we've done that part, we're gonna hit Make It. Okay, and now we are going to say we're gonna be cutting it on a card mat because the card mat is very specifically oriented. So we're gonna be cutting one card at a time because we are using the Cricut Joy today. I just dropped all my pens. All right, so it looks like first we're gonna be cutting the one with the outline. Let's get out our card mat for custom cards. Yay, that is what we are doing. So, okay, looks like I need to, oh, okay. Okay, remove protective top sheet. Okay, slide backside of the card under the hard plastic cover, align from top left, and close card before loading into machine. Seems easy enough. All right, so now we're gonna get out our card. All right, we've got our watercolor cards here. I'm gonna pull out one. And I'm gonna go ahead and do what it told me to. We are pretty much ready to cut this. Let's come back to our screen for just a second. And one thing I'm gonna do is make sure that this is like aligned in the center of the card where I want it. I don't necessarily want it like vertically aligned. I want it to be just like up a little bit. So I'm gonna move it where I want it and then kind of click away and make sure it looks right on the card. And I think that looks great. I'm also gonna look at my material size and make sure it has the right card size selected, which in this case is 4.25 by 5.5. We don't need to mirror, so we're actually ready to make it. So I'm gonna hop off the screen and then we're gonna get our card on our mat and let this start cutting. Well, drawing in this case. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. I've already got my markers out that we're gonna be using for this project. I'm gonna set those to the side and I am going to attach my card to this mat. Make sure it's oriented in the right direction. You want to make sure you've got it opening the way that you want it. And then you just slide, I think. Okay, so it goes like this, I believe. Aha! Okay, so you slide it all the way in, card open, drop the sleeve there, and then you just press down. That is actually really handy. That's really clever. Okay. So now we're ready to hit continue on Cricut Design Space over here. I'm gonna browse all materials over here and I'm gonna select my card, watercolor cards. Okay, so now it's saying to ensure quality and safety, move the star wheels to the right side of your machine. Okay, that's these. They're kind of hard to slide. Can I move my... Okay, I just shoved the blade over. I don't know if you're supposed to do that. But basically what it's wanting me to do is take these little star wheels right here and move them all the way to the right. They're a little hard to move, but we got there. So now I'm gonna click, got it. Okay, and then it's wanting me to load the orange in first. So I'm going to take my fine point blade out and set it off to the side. I'm gonna uncap my orange watercolor marker, drop it in. I'm a little scared. Okay, here we go. So I've loaded in my orange watercolor marker, and now I just load the mat into the machine. It just feels too easy so far, so we'll see. With the Cricut Joy, it's always a little scary because there is no load unload button. So you just kind of push your mat in and it catches and it starts. So it says the Joy Xtra is making sure my mat is aligned. And now you click go actually on Cricut Design Space because there's not a go button on the actual machine. So I'm gonna click go. It's gonna do the orange. Fingers crossed. It's like doing it perfectly. Load black 0.3 in clamp, okay? So it's already ready for my fine point. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Again, just dropping it in. And then when it's clamped in, you just hit go. Okay, I'm really nervous that the outline is gonna jack up the watercolor. Okay, now it's ready for green. So we're gonna unload. The unloading and loading on the Cricut Joy is easier than I expected. I feel like it's really simple to load the pens. Like I started with the Cricut Explorer, and I feel like locking your pen into place was stressful. But with this, it doesn't feel like that. It literally just drops in. I don't know if that makes any sense. I feel like it's simpler. I feel like it's a lot easier. Okay, so we're outlining our leaves now. Now it's ready for the purple. So we're gonna unclamp, pull out our green, do our purple, yellow. The clamp is also kind of like springy, as opposed to like even with the maker where it's more like it's harder to clamp and unclamp. This is very simple. It's done. Project complete. Be sure to move star wheels to the original locations. wishing I would have remembered their original locations. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this pen out just so it doesn't lose its ink. Put my fine point blade back in, and then I'm gonna click unload. And here she is. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the card off the mat. As you can tell, I'm a little nervous. So I think I just am gonna peel it a little bit until it like pops up in the corner. Somebody who's a seasoned vet is gonna come at me for this method probably. I just did it until it like lifted a bit, and now I'm just sliding it on out. And I'm just gonna pinch it a little bit to make sure it stays closed there. I'm gonna move my mat off to the side. I'm actually gonna replace the little film on it just so we don't lose our stickiness. I really enjoy that card mat. That's very cool. Okay, so now it's time for the part that I've been afraid of since the beginning, and that is adding the water. So you fill up the water reservoir, which I've already done, and then you literally just squeeze it and kind of paint your water. So I'm gonna use it on my sleeve first until I like can get some wetness. Oh, there's like a drip of water. Okay, we've got some wetness now. We're gonna start with the leaves. I feel like it'll be harder to mess that up. And keep in mind that this is the one with the black outline. So I feel like I could the black outline could interfere a bit. So we may want to redo this with the one without the black outline, but I wanted it to have some definition, which is why I kind of added that in. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to do like a little more sparse. Okay. All right, let's get some more green. You do want to be like pretty ginger with it. Like, I feel like it is grabbing that color like pretty quick. So I do feel like there's definite reason to not like go hardcore on it like I did on that first leaf. Although I will say I don't feel like it's grabbing a lot of black. Like the lines on the black still look really sharp. I do feel like it's making the green a bit darker. But again, as that green or as that black dries, it's going to be more and more permanent. I'm just grabbing it like right away. So I feel like, you know, we're going to have a little extra color there. A little extra saturation, I should say. All right, let's grab some green there. And I feel like I could come back and add more. Wow. Okay, that like wasn't so bad. Okay, here's our final product with the outline. There's like a close-up. Okay, let's do the one with no outline now. I'm gonna set this one off to the side. I thought maybe I wouldn't do it, but I definitely want to. I wanna see how it goes. Is it time? Yay! And now we do the fun part. Okay, so let's kind of look, well, at the end we'll kind of look side by side at the differences in like the black outline or no black outline. I do think that the move is kind of to move from lighter color to darker colors, because it definitely will start to kind of pull that darker color, or like just have a paper towel off to the side where you can kind of like reset your brush. Otherwise, I do think you kind of end up with some bleed over there, and you can inhibit that a lot by just starting with your lighter colors. So I'm gonna start with orange and yellow here, and I'm just taking where the Cricut drew and kind of like pulling outwards. It is really fun. Okay, let's get that last flower going. Okay, so here's the different looks. They are very different. This one is definitely darker and kind of a more like moody look, but it has more definition because of the black lines. I do think if I had let that black settle for a little bit longer, the bleed would maybe been less. And then this one is definitely brighter. It's less defined, but still very fun. And I actually think if you wanted it to look less mechanical, you could even like kind of take the edges on your leaves and like make them look fuzzier by just running your brush over it. You can do that with your flowers too even. And kind of like create some shadow and halo. And that will make this look even more hand-drawn and more like, not like a machine did it. There you go. So, watercolor brushes. There you have it. There's a close-up of our not lined one. And then here's a close-up of our lined one. So, there you go. Watercolor brushes. Cricut Joy Xtra watercolor cards. I highly recommend. I think that I'm going to want to play with these more. I think I'm going to want to do a lot more with this. And stay tuned because I think there will be more watercolor projects on the horizon for sure. Until then, thank you so much for joining me. I had so much fun trying this out. Again, this has been Chaos Crafting with Laura, where I try something that I've never tried before. And I think it went pretty good considering it was the first try. So come back next time and we'll probably do something else with the Cricut Joy Xtra because it is my new fave. So until then, happy crafting, have a wonderful week. Don't forget to follow me on socials everywhere. I'm at It's Laura Lambert on Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Threads. I think that's it. Follow me there, stay up to date, reach out, send me a DM. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you're crafting. And then, of course, subscribe and hit the bell icon on YouTube so you don't miss a thing. I'm always posting videos about all things Cricut, Cricut Joy, SVG creation, Glowforge, all the crafty things. So have a great week and happy crafting.